is Nick Wizard, and we're here with our first episode of Adastra. That was a nice little galaxy background and I am fully prepared. I have my Amicus t-shirt. I've got the Amicus rubber charm. So, yeah. Also, if you're new, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can see whenever I post. Anyways, let's hop right in. And I want to make sure that I'm actually recording. Okay, I am. It's so large. Also, I'm sorry if I sound so fucking cringe. I'm gonna try my best to voice act this shit. It's too much. How do they get anything done? Sensing doubt, shall we proceed with the directive, Amicus? I don't know. Are you sure they're level 5? Data from mission 32-65-193 indicates primate species with level 5 intelligence and... Understood. Thank you. Most recent... Oh, that's calm, not Amicus. Most recent data indicates that all uplift attempts failed. That figures. Why did we try to uplift here in the first place? Sensing doubt, shall we proceed? Name of the planet. Earth. Location of Rometus uplift. City of Rome in the state of Italy. Is the probe there? It has arrived. Give me a visual. Zoom in. That doesn't look like Adastra at all. Reminder that uplift failed. Ruins of uplift attempt remain. Show me the ruins. Showing the Roman Forum. Sensing doubt. Shut up, please. What the hell are they even saying? That's not the language. It's all messed up. Sensing. That creature there. They are called humans. Get closer. It's a human? Collecting data. He appears to be a young male human. Initiate landing sequence. Have you located the directive? Yes. Warning that full nexus analysis is incomplete. Now, please, we cannot waste time outside of the stretch drive. Initiating landing sequence. It's hard to believe that I'm actually here. Hang on. Lie down. See if I can approached him, he just ran back to the bed. Apparently I need to get a tissue. bouncing around with my friends like an idiot all day. Yeah, I look like a total tourist, but this is what I've been saving up for the past 2 years. A whole semester in Rome with a study abroad program. All the conversations I've had with my parents about what a waste of money it would be evaporates from my brain as I take it here. We only have a few hours, so we perform to the Palatine Hill, then finally to a nearby disco where we just get a little drunk. Before I know it, it's 2 in the morning, and somehow my friends and I are able to stumble back to a taxi that takes us back to our apartments. I walk unsteadily through the darkness, glad that I have the place to myself now. Wait, did that say 4 now, or... Apparently my group was the first to arrive, and my assigned flatmates will be here for a few days at least. I open the door to my room and move my hand along the wall. I stumble in and sit on my bed, bouncing happily for a moment. I think about going out to the balcony, but I've been walking all day and it feels too nice to be sitting down. Plus, it might not be a great idea considering staring at me right now. Still, just knowing the magic of the city is just outside my window is going to make it hard to sleep. I sigh happily, look around my home. Actually, I'm told it's kind of big for the city standards. It's still a little bare since I just moved in today. I basically just dropped my suitcase next to the door before running out again. I glance at them, but decide I'm way too tired right now to unpack, even if my pajamas are in there. It's fine, I'm just laying on top of the covers. I'll get to it tomorrow. Meantime, I just lay back, smiling and looking to tasty segments. And tomorrow, I'll get to see even more. Damn it, I need to calm down. No way am I gonna have the energy I'll need tomorrow if I'm up all night. I've got the whole semester, and on top of that, school doesn't actually start for another 2 weeks. There's plenty of time. I just relax for now, enjoy it. With that thought in my head, I start to drift off. Something moves. I lay there in the dark, wondering if I dreamed it. I had been dreaming, even though I can't remember exactly what it was about. Apollo, do you actually have to go out? Is that a no? Oh, you just wanted attention? Yeah. Something about a portal, maybe? I listened for a while, but there's no other sound. Just the occasional soft whoosh of a car passing by outside my balcony. I shift around a little. The suffocating humidity is making the sheets stick to my skin. And I wonder if maybe there's a fan in the closet? I finally sit up in bed, realizing that there's no way I'm going to fall back to sleep like this. I could at least try sliding open the balcony door, though I'm not sure that'll do me any good. Worth a try, I guess. I groggily slide out of bed and try to slide the glass door open, but it doesn't budge. I struggle for a few more seconds before sighing and moving toward the door to find the light switch. My feet slide along the semi-cool wooden floor, which feels great while my hands stretched out in front of me searching for the wall. Right then I remember that I was woken up by a noise. Well, by noises. And I imagine some intruder standing there in the dark waiting for me to bump into him. Feeling the hair stand up on the back of my neck, I quicken my pace and find the wall, fumbling around until I quickly glance around the room, relieved that it's empty. My parents had warned me about the crime rate here. While the city is technically safe in terms of murder, robberies, and mugging. Safe in terms of murder, robberies, and muggings are apparently pretty common. I think that sentence is a bit, weirdly worded. I had shrugged it off at the time, but now that I'm alone, I make my way to the balcony looking for the lock before finally seeing that there's a latch near the top of the door. I knock it and slowly slide the door open. I am disappointed to find that the air wafting from outside is almost as stuffy as the air inside. Still, I take a moment to stare out at the lights of the city for a while. Even though I'm more interested in the ruins, the city itself is undeniably beautiful. Nothing like my hometown. That's when I notice that there's a strange smell in the air, like burning rubber. I stick my head out a bit further, looking around for the source, but I see nothing. Maybe that's normal here. I look back at the clock on the wall. 4 a.m. I sigh and shuffle back to my bed, only realizing that I've left the light on once I've already fallen back first onto the covers. I sigh and will myself to get up, but the tiredness has returned, and the heavy humidity is almost like a warm blanket pressing down on me. I close my eyes. I'll turn it off in a second. Just need to rest my eyes for a bit. Just for a bit. Something moves again. There's another smell in the air. A good smell this time. Something floral. It reminds me of lavender. And that's when something hard and sharp presses into my left eye socket, just above the eye. It doesn't really hurt, but it shocks me awake. It leans over me, something shiny in its grip, which it's pulling back from my head. I kick out with both feet, hitting the thing leaning over me and its body. And up, Paul! And lets out the surprised grunt, stumbling back and falling on its rear, while I scramble back on my bed, pressing myself against the wall. Almost immediately, it scrambles back up, revealing its massive build and masculine shape. He adjusts his cape and smooths down his fur before rubbing at his chest, giving me an odd look. Then he flexes a smile back on his face. Ave. I stare. That's all I can do, is stare. He stares back at me for a moment, then clears his throat. Ave, hello. The space above my left eye throbs, and it sounds like I'm hearing two things at once from the same voice. Potes intelligere? Do you understand? Again, the bizarre twitching in my eye, in my brain, and hearing two things at once. I feel like I'm going to be sick. The room shifts and swirls a bit, then slowly starts to settle again. The twitching in my head turns into a dull throb. I'm having a nightmare. Do you understand me? I stare at him, and he stares back. Calm. I don't know if the chip is working. What? The creature raises its hand to its head, rubbing at it. Well, he can speak, and it's translating. Can you understand me? When am I going to wake up? He keeps staring at me, and I automatically respond to him. Yes? Good. It seems it's finally working now. They take a moment to adjust the host's brain. I struggle to keep up with his words. I'm still hearing what he's saying. It's almost Italian, with the inflections and the rolling of the R's. But at the same time, it's definitely not Italian. Still, I can understand what he's saying. Like, he's speaking my own language at the same time. It makes it hard to concentrate. What's your name? Obviously we're going with Jason. Or should I go with Marco? Screw it, we're going Jason. His expectant look almost forces the answer out of my mouth. Jason? Jason? Beautiful! I'm Amicus. The confusing double language I was hearing is starting to fade, and now only my own language comes out of his mouth. It's odd. The words aren't quite matching up with his lips. What's even more distracting are those massive canines that continue to flash behind those lips. I need to get the hell out of here. Dream or not, I do not like the look of those teeth and claws on this thing. Is the lingua having troubles again? I don't respond, instead glancing at the door to the right and behind this amicus. He frowns. Calm, you told me they were level 5. I can't even speak with it. It takes me a moment to realize he's not talking to me. I hear a soft chatter coming from the wolf, like something's talking to him from a phone, but I can't see anything. Yeah? Well, he kicked me in the chest. Amicus rubs at his chest with a frown. More muffled speaking. Of course I didn't. He just kicked me. He's looking at me like he has no idea. More muffled speaking interrupts him. Oh, wait. What? Are you serious? Now he looks pissed, and I press myself harder against the wall, trying to work up the courage to make a break for the door. How? Wait. So you're always offering me opinions on my mood, but you couldn't even offer that. The more muffled babbling, but the wolf thing interrupts it with a snarl. Well, what the hell do I do now? His lips are drawn back, and now I get to have a real good view of those canines. I stare wide-eyed at them, and that's when he seems to notice me again. He readjusts his expression into a smile, but I can still see a fang poking out. Hey, listen. There's something about the way he acts, his expressions, demeanor. He's so human. Could you come with me outside? Damn it, hang on. God damn it. Could you come back with me outside for a quick moment? For some reason, the realization of his humanness makes me absolutely positive that this is a dream. This must be a character from a game or movie that I had seen. I shake my head slowly at him. Please? I just stare, still waiting to wake up. I've had dreams where I couldn't wake up before. This is just one of those. I remember reading somewhere that if you aren't sure you're dreaming, you can plug your nose. If you can still breathe, then it's definitely a dream. But I remain frozen against the wall. The massive wolf sighs. Then his paw suddenly moves to his waist. I only have a moment to see some sort of device with multicolored lights before he moves and my entire body seizes up and things go black. My body feels strangely numb. It's like when I wake up with a dead leg or arm, except now it's my entire body. The only thing I can really feel is a sharp, cold pain behind and above my left eye. I try to wiggle my arms and hands, wondering if I'm having some sort of sleep paralysis. They move, at least I think they do. Everything's so dark. Am I still in the apartment? Usually there's a little bit of light coming from the balcony because of the street lamps, but everything's pitch black. I start to feel a little panicky, both from the numb feeling and also the idea that I might have gone blind somehow. I try to remember what happened last. Did I go out somewhere? Maybe a club? The disco. Did I take something? I start to push myself up, and that's when I feel something soft under my hands, and something very hard under it, like concrete. I am definitely not in bed right now. Now I'm really starting to panic, wondering if I had been kidnapped. I get on my hands and knees, thankful that at least the numb feeling is going away. I'm also relieved to find out that I'm not blind. I see a soft glow of light outlining what's roughly the shape of a door in front of me. I I open my mouth, but about to call out before I force it shut again. I have no idea where I am or how I got here, but I am not liking the signs. My hand throbs a little, and I close my eyes tight, trying to steady my breathing, listening to my heart pound. Wait, did I say hand instead of head? Shit, I think I did. God damn it. I need coffee. Damn, Legos. I'll go for some nice coffee. Coffee. My head throbs a little and I close my eyes tight, trying to steady my breathing, listening to my heart pound. Oh wait, I already read this. God damn it. I definitely got back to my apartment and I remember going to bed, and then I remember... My eyes fly open as I remember that wolf creature staring at me with those blue eyes. And those teeth! Oh my God, there's no way. There's no fucking way. I open my eyes again and stare at the soft light, trying to listen. There's a constant hum of some kind of whirring, like a whirring of a large machine. It's gentle and almost soothing, but it makes me think I'm in some sort of vehicle. But I don't feel anything, no bumps or turns. I slowly crawl towards the door, listening as hard as I can for voices or movement, anything that might tell me somebody's nearby. As I get closer to the door, I do hear something, a type of beeping and chirping. I stay in that position for what feels like a solid 15 minutes, not hearing anything more. I think about trying to open the door, but I realize that might not be a great idea. I still don't know if that wolf is real. No, I know he isn't real. What's more likely is that someone slipped something into my drink and I hallucinated everything. I laughed off my parents' warnings about tourists, that tourists are vulnerable in Rome, but now that doesn't seem so crazy. Someone had drugged me, followed me to my apartment, then kidnapped me. I need something, a weapon, before I try opening the door. I feel like I'm in a closet of some kind, so there's probably something here that I can use. Slowly, I get on my knees and start moving forward, waving my hands out in front of me. If I can find the shelves, then I can just feel around for something solid. My hand sweeps what feels like a box, and what follows is the clang of metal as something falls to the floor. I cringe and squeeze my eyes shut as the sound echoes across the room I'm in. I kneel there in complete silence, stunned. That's when light spills over my body, followed by a large shadow. Oh, hey, you're awake. I didn't know he was... Did you know he was awake? Yes, for approximately 0.2 hours. I swear to the gods, why are you so useless? I sit there, not having turned around yet, but the shadow gets bigger and I feel him moving over me. I get a whiff of lavender. Finally, I slowly turn my head and see the wolf. He towers over me, broad muzzle pointed down so that he can look me right in the eye. While his size and general demeanor are intimidating, his eyes are warm and friendly. It doesn't really matter to me right now, as I realize that I hadn't been dreaming or hallucinating either. Or the dream/hallucination is ongoing. The wolf moves towards me, and I immediately scoot back until the shelves behind me dig into my spine. I vaguely noticed the metal thing that I knocked over earlier. neon-shaped thing with a long cord running out of it. Remember, the human does not know about the Cassious. Proceed with caution. The wolf's ears flick before he visibly tries to write his expression into a smile. Hello, human. Sorry, I mean Jason, right? Again, I get caught up in watching the movement of his mouth counter to what I'm hearing in my brain. Then I notice that he's waiting, watching me intently. I open my mouth and close it, then nod. The wolf still stares at me, seeming to not understand. Right? The silence stretches on until I finally force myself to speak. Yes. It comes out in barely a whisper. Oh, I should have whispered that. Great. So now that we understand that, I can tell you that I am from the star Stella Vita, very far from here. The wolf sets his paws far apart, his eyes wide as he emphasizes the distance. Why now does my eye decide to twitch? Oh my god. He's talking to me in a way one might to a very dumb 2-year-old. I live on a moon called Adastra. Do you know what a moon is? You live on what is called a planet. I stare at him for a moment, almost offended despite my continuing shock. Amicus smiles gently. A moon is a large... I know what a moon is. Amicus blinks at me. We have one. My words feel automatic. Actually, everything feels like it's on autopilot right now. Oh, well, I didn't know that. That's great. There's an awkward silence as the two of us stare at each other. The initial fear is wearing off. I feel if this alien is meaning to hurt me, he would have done it by now. At least, for now. Amicus rubs his paws together nervously. Are you hungry? He motions at his mouth and rubs his stomach while licking his lips. Again, gestures and expressions that I have no trouble interpreting. The only alien thing about him is his appearance. I don't know. The wolf frowns, almost looking frustrated. His slow speech gets even slower. Well, why don't we give it a try then? I guess my answers don't exactly make me seem intelligent, but I don't know how else to respond. Why don't you come out onto the deck with me? We'll make something. Amicus gives an exaggerated come-on gesture with both of his paws as he walks backwards straight into the wall as he misses the door. Ow! Yeah, let's go, human. He rubs the back of his head with a wince before turning and walking out the door. I stare at the open door for a moment before slowly getting up and following him, walking over a brown shag rug, the soft thing I'd been lying on. That's when I'm standing in the middle of what looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. It's small and cramped, but the amount of unfamiliar glowing technology is almost overwhelming. Glass panels cover almost every inch of the walls around me, displaying images and characters that I can't even come close to understanding. Straight ahead of me are two large windows looking out into the blackness with dotted specks of light. I'm in a spaceship. Where the hell is he taking me? Amicus is over my right side, messing with what I can only describe as a large espresso machine growing out of the side of the spaceship. He's holding a cup under a nozzle, ducking down a little to stare at the opening. He notices me looking. Takes a little while to warm up. I have to warn you that it's not very good. It's probably better than most of what you eat on your moon planet. Oh, damn it. The wolf hastily moves the cup to catch the rest of it while reaching over with his other paw to snatch a rag from a hook on the side of the machine. Sorry, this thing is near broken. Do you want to sit down? He nods his head over at one of the two seats in front of the windows. Just, don't touch any of the bright lights, okay? I make my way over to the front deck still waiting to wake up. I stand beside the seat, reaching out to touch the soft red bristles of the helmet and the wings on the sides. This only enforces the feeling that I am hallucinating or dreaming. There's a strange Roman influence to Amicus in the ship. One that's almost cartoonish. Has my obsession over Rome gone too far? I can just imagine myself in some Italian hospital right now, babbling about Roman wolf havings. Go on, zip. Amicus plants himself heavily in the seat next to mine, holding two cups of what looks like brown sludge. He holds one out to me. I take it gingerly before sitting down. Looking into the cup, the food has the consistency and look of half-melted chocolate ice cream. Except it's warm and smells like dirt, like literal mud. I scrunch my nose up at it, which Amicus notices. Yeah, it's not the best, but I actually had some of the good food that I brought along with me, but I ate it all before I got here. The wolf shrugs and settles excitedly into his seat. So tell me about where you're from. What's life like on Earth? It's okay. Okay. Well, what's your occupation? I'm a student. Oh, what discipline? I try to adjust with the surreal feeling of talking to this wolf. I don't know yet. I was looking into history, Greek and Roman studies. That seems confusing to him for some reason. Do you have an emperor? What's he like? I catch myself staring at his mouth again, at the weird way his mouth is unsynced with his words. No. Then how? I interrupt him. Why isn't your mouth matching up with the sounds you're making? Even with the spaceship and alien around me, it's a weird distortion of feeling like I'm watching a dumb movie that has most unsettled. I think one of the cats is trying to get out of the bedroom. Hi, Crash. Hang on. Hey, Will, could you clear the gunk from his eyes? You're fine, Crash. Why are you still in your underwear? The cotton swabs are on the bathroom sink. Do not use the toilet paper. You only need 2. You don't need 5. Put those 3 back. Fill that cup with warm water. And then give Crash to me so I can give him his those damn eye drops. I said warm, not scalding hot. It's not that hard. I've done it like 15 times now. Crash, do not eat the dog food. Your cat food's right there. Anyways. Oh! Amicus points a finger at me to a spot above my left eye. I give you a lingua. It helps you understand me. I stare at him, but he doesn't offer anything more. How? Oh, well, it, sort of attaches to the language center in the brain. It's very smart. It learns from the host brain and is able to interpret the 8 major galaxias' languages for them. And how does it do that? Well, our brains are structured in similar ways, at least among sapiens, so it works almost universally. Honestly, it's parental tech, so I'm not fully sure how it works. None of us do, but it does work. Well, I said to clean off his eyes before giving me. Amicus continues to look at me clearly, concerned about something. But I'm concerned too. How did you get it into my brain? You know, you ask a lot of questions. I stare at him. Well, this is all kind of new to me. Should I not be asking questions? It's fine. I've just never had a child ask me questions. Really. Anyway, can you not? Anyway, there's a device that inserts it. I was lucky enough to find one left over on the ship. Inserts it. I rub the spot between my eye and eye socket. Skin slightly tender. Does it hurt? It should wear off in a few hours. I stare at Amicus for a few moments, then down into my cup, feeling a bit sick. Staring at the brown mush isn't helping. Need help with that? You can eat it like this. He dips his muzzle down towards his own cup. He sticks out a long tongue, thick, pink tongue, pressing it into the sludge before cupping it and bringing it back up into his mouth. He pulls a bit of a face before smiling. Not terrible. Then he looks at me a bit closer. What? Stop! No! Get back here! Alright. Nope. That was just one eye, Crash. Alright, you only have one other eye. Unless you have 3, that would be weird. Okay. Crash. I just need to get your left eye. No! I already got his right eye. Will. Okay. There you go. Okay. Serious seriously raining. Gotta love Florida. Then he looks at me a bit closer.
Wait, you do have a tongue, right?
I stare back at him for a moment before setting the cup on the side of the armrest. What are you doing? Why are you watching me? Well, did you ask before opening that? Crash! That's the dog food. We'll just take Crash back into the room. What is all this? Where are you taking me? At this point, I'm starting to get over the shock. I'm also starting to get annoyed at this alien's complete disregard for basically everything to do with me. You kidnapped me. You left me in a closet. You're feeding me what looks like shit. And now you tell me you jabbed something into my brain? Amicus actually flinched at that.
Does it still hurt? I could give you a pain manager.
I don't really want anything from you. What is all this? The wolf just stares at me wide-eyed. It's like he didn't even consider me being capable of being upset.
Hey, it's okay.
You kidnapped me. I feel myself getting more panicked, both from the realization of what's happening and what's happened and what's currently happening.
No! Well, I mean...
You, tased me or something.
What?
You electrocuted me?
No, it's not electricity.
That doesn't make it better. For a brief moment, I think about overpowering this wolf somehow, turning the ship around if I can figure it out. Sensing hostile intent. Proceed with caution, Amicus. Amicus doesn't say anything, and I see him gripping into his cup tightly. I get the odd feeling that he didn't expect me to point these things out to him. Did he think that I was that unintelligent? I can tell he's calculating something in his head right now, and that makes me nervous. Maybe I should have just played dumb. We stared at each other for a long while until Amicus' steely gaze forced me to look away. I choose to glance up at the ceiling, deciding to change the subject and give myself some time to just think. What is that thing? Amicus clears his throat.
What?
That voice. I nod up. I hit the spacebar too quickly there. I nod up at the ceiling in the vague direction of where I heard the sound come from. The thing that can apparently sense my hostile intents.
Oh.
Amicus looks up at the ceiling too.
That's Computatrum? Or Calm. He's pretty annoying. Aren't you, Calm?
I can provide diagnostics on the ship and on the mood and competence of crewmates on...
Thank you, Calm. Anyway, he's not actually a sapient. He's a program that can process language and spit out information stored in his database.
Amicus pauses.
I'm sorry, you probably don't understand what I'm talking about.
I think I do. Artificial intelligence, maybe? I reach instinctively for the pocket of my jeans, but I remember that I left my phone on the bedside table. Amicus's eyes widen once again, and again I wonder if I should be keeping my mouth shut. Feeling how much I know seems to be some sort of trigger for him.
Ah, so have you been in space before?
No. Hang on. I look out the window staring at the stars.
Okay, have your people ever gone to space?
No, we haven't.
Do you know what atoms are? Nuclear energy, maybe?
No. Based on Nexus analysis on Earth, these statements appear to be misleading, Amicus. I glance at the ceiling again, realizing now that I've got a constant spy above me. I look back at Amicus and we stare at each other in silence for a long moment. Then I realize how absurd all of this is. What do you want with me? Amicus looks away, seeming to think.
Well, it's a part of a program on my planet to introduce new aliens to the Cassious.
What is that?
It's the Greater Galactic Civilization, Jason. It's a gradual strategy to slowly introduce Earth to the idea of other sapiens.
Play the fucking video, YouTube. Oh, is this happening to other humans?
Yes.
I contemplate this for a moment. And when you're done showing me, you'll take me back. There's a momentary pause that I don't like very much.
Yes.
I imagine that I'd hear these statements appear to be misleading from Calm right about now, if he were on my side. I look into my cup of brown sludge again. Well, to be honest, I'm not at all interested, so could you just take me back now? Amicus stares at me. I've got school and a family. They don't know where I am right now.
Well, I mean, you don't want to see the galaxy? I really think that it would be amazing for someone like you that hasn't seen it before.
The wolf starts fidgeting with his paws, not looking at me, choosing to stare out the window. He isn't wrong. It would be pretty cool to see the galaxy, but not with someone like him, who kidnapped me, taking me somewhere for a reason that he isn't telling me. No, actually, I want to go home right now. Amicus stares at me for a full 10 seconds before looking away.
How about we wait until we get to my home? Then we can discuss it?
No. Take me back. I feel my heart hammering in my chest, and as I start to realize that this alien is definitely not going to take me back. I stand up, and Amicus flinches and brings his paws up to his chest as if I'm going to attack him. We stay like that for a moment. I'm breathing hard, staring down at the wolf, while Amicus stares back at me wide-eyed. Finally, Amicus lets out a big sigh, looking back at the window.
Okay, I'm going to take you back. I'm sorry.
I watch him for a moment, looking for signs of sincerity, but he still won't look at me. Really?
Yes, but it's complicated. We're on a trajectory for Adastra, and it'll take time for us to turn around.
I keep watching him, not sure what to do. I feel like he's lying, but if there's really nothing... But if he is, there's really nothing I can do about it. Grammar goes a long way. There should be something to separate those two senses. I'm stuck here with him, probably millions of miles from Earth, with no way of knowing how to get back. So I just stand there, arms folded slightly against my chest, staring out the window too. That's when I see a star brighter than all the others, almost too bright to look at. Is that the sun?
The what?
Is that my star? My planet star? Amicus squints in the direction I'm looking in.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's your star. I can't remember the name we have for it. It's a bunch of numbers.
How far away are we?
Not far, we could get back there in no time.
Amicus stands up next to me, seeming to stretch. So, are we going back?
Yeah, just gotta do it in a way that doesn't waste too much energy. I still have to get back to Adastra after all.
I stare in the direction of the sun again, my gaze slightly averted from the piercing dot. How long has it been since I was kidnapped? I wonder if my friends have alerted the school or even the authorities. How am I going to explain this? There's a movement to my right, and as I'm turning to look, something cold pressing into the side of my neck. A familiar sensation of my muscles tightening up makes me slam back into the seat. At the same time, my mind seems to wipe clean. Empty. Suddenly, I'm surrounded by soft, warm gray fur. I feel like a limp blanket as I'm flopped around, my muscles like jelly. It's not a bad feeling. In fact, it feels kinda great. I would smile if my facial muscles were working. I'm laid on the ground and then my arms are pushed behind me. Something starts to wind around my wrists. Still detecting consciousness from the human. Insufficient charge used.
I used it on the lowest setting. I think I hit him with too much last time. Looks like he's mostly out anyway, though.
I hear ragged breathing in my ear as my arms are jerked around.
Damn it, he's more sapient than any child I've known.
Sensing distress. Would you like a stress tablet, Amicus?
Maybe even as intelligent as a wolf. Well, almost. If they've been to space, then they're far past level 5.
I try to open my eyes, but my eyelids are too heavy to lift.
Maybe level 10?
My brain isn't really working either. I can't seem to focus. Padded footsteps move around my head. Then I hear what sounds like an alarm, followed by something I can't really explain. My mind startles as the deep voice starts up again.
What do I do now? I've messed this up about as badly as I could have. Solutions, Calm.
Solutions. Consider returning the human back to Earth. If no evidence is left behind, it is unlikely his statement would be believed.
Too late for that since I've just activated the stretch drive.
Yes, that was inadvisable.
Yeah, well, I don't know how advanced his species is. If he was being misleading, then that means they're spacefaring. They could have patrols in their star system. I want to get out as soon as possible. You know, you could have offered the solution before I did that.
You've set me to minimal interruptions.
Next solution.
Consider termination of the human and incinerate their remains through the radiation of the stretch drive.
Oedipal! No! Next solution!
Consider taking the human to Adastra and use him as your pet as originally planned. From there, you may pass him off as less sapient. It is unlikely you will be questioned.
I don't know. He already despises me after what I just did.
Amicus, alternative solutions point to a higher likelihood that the monitors will be alerted of your actions. Proceed with caution.
Calm, please swipe the last 10 minutes of the conversation, then go into sleep mode until I wake you. I need to think.
Wiping memory, entering sleep mode. A few moments of silence go by and I feel a wave of fatigue. I start to fall asleep. Padded footsteps move closer to me and I feel a presence looming. Then something heavy and soft rests on my forearm.
I'm sorry. This was a mistake.
Then I'm dragged a short distance, for a short while, before I come to rest on something shaggy and soft. Then silence. Then sleep. I float in a void of nothingness. Not even blackness. Nothingness. I feel like having no sense of self. Boundaries of my being no longer. Wait, hang on. Boundaries of my being having no boundaries. numbness isn't there like last time. Instead, just feels like I woke up from a deep sleep. I can tell I'm back in the utility closet lying on the shag rug, but the door is open, allowing me to actually see. I slowly turn my head a bit. I'm able to vaguely make out the small deck that I'd just been in. I see Amicus to the far right, both his paws resting on the counter with the food dispenser looking down at the panel. He's got his back to me at an angle, one foot crossed behind the other, his tail swishing back and forth while he mumbles to himself. As slowly as I can, I turn over onto my side, trying not to let out a groan of relief as my back and hands are relieved of their pressure. I grimace through the pain, having the blood rush back into my fingers. That's when I realize that my hands are tied at the wrists behind my back with a cord of some kind. The ends of it dangle through my fingers, and I can feel it smooth, metallic. Some slow movements with my hands tells me immediately that they haven't been tied well. My left hand is fairly secure, but the loop around my right is loose. I get the feeling that if I pulled hard enough, I might be able to just slip it. And just like that, it comes out. My shoulders jerks when I do it, and I freeze, waiting to see if Amicus might notice. He goes on, staring out the panel, leaning forward to rest his chin on a fist.
Cassious is probably going to figure it out right away. I knew it.
Amicus sighs and shit. I keep doing that. Fuck. And hunches over further. I let out the breath I'm holding as quietly as I can before I start looking around, moving my head as little as possible. The shelves are a variety of different objects that I can't identify. They're all heavy, industrial. They all have a heavy industrial look to them, and I know that I could use any of them as a weapon. There's a long pipe-like object at the end of the bottom shelf, and I imagine hefting that in both hands, bringing the end of it down on the top of that stupid wolf's. Amicus suddenly straightens up, and I stiffen and close my eyes. I hear the wolf above. I hear the wolf move, padding in my direction. That continues until there's a pause. I can feel his presence standing in the doorway. I crack open an eye just a tiny bit to see what he might be doing. I get a vague image of him standing over me, looking down.
Hello? Human? Jason?
I don't move, and I breathe as evenly as I can.
Hello?
He must know I'm awake. I can feel myself shaking from all the tension. Damn it. Amicus mumbles to himself as he turns away, moving towards the deck. That's when I realize that this might be my best chance to make my move. He's not going to take me back. He's knocked me out twice, and that's reason enough to do what I'm about to do. As quietly as I can, I roll over and reach out for the metal pipe. By some miracle, I manage not to clang it against the metal rack it's on. Quietly, I bring it up both hands as I stand. It's heavy, a lot heavier than I expected, but I can manage it. I focus the retreating wolf's back and move at a half run, my bare feet allowing me to quietly pad towards him. Despite that, I see his ears come up at the last second. His body is starting to shift in a way that tells me he's about to turn around, and I swing. What happens next is something that I can't explain. I aimed for his head, wanting to cause as much damage as possible, not really thinking about the consequences of what might happen if I seriously injure or even kill him. But for some inexplicable reason, the trajectory of my swing suddenly dips down, as if caused by some invisible magnet making me miss Amicus' head. The strange force doesn't lessen the power of my swing, though, and it carries through to land with a hard, meaty thump into the side of the wolf's thick neck. Ah! That scream was horrible. Amicus cringes, both paws moving to cover the back and side of his neck, dropping into a crouch. He looks at me, his eyes wide and wild, an expression that sends a shot of fear into my body. Suddenly, I see him as a wild animal. Wild, scared, and very angry animal. I raise the pipe again over my head to bring it down on the head I just missed, but Amicus is fast. He leaps up from the crouch in an upward and forward motion straight into my chest. I wheeze, but manage to stay on my feet as the wolf carries me backwards and slams me against the wall of the deck. Amicus snarls into my face, teeth bared, one eye wincing shut. I struggle, but there's no way. He handles me like a rag doll, like a toy. This must be how someone feels during a wild animal attack. Completely helpless, suddenly wondering why evolution left us so damn defenseless.
What the hell are you doing?
Ugh. Amicus yells at me as he lets go of one of my wrists, put a paw to his neck, cringing as he does.
Damn it!
He struggles with my free hand, grabbing Amicus's face and trying to gouge his eyes and nose. The wolf immediately lets go of his neck and grabs the pipe. He wrenches it away, but I try to hold on and almost get lifted off my feet. He swings it one way, then violently in the other direction, throwing me to the floor of the deck, and I lose my grip on my weapon. Amicus advances on me as I lay flat on my back, staring up at him, wide-eyed, realizing how big of a mistake I've just made, thinking I could handle a 7-foot-tall, muscle-bound wolf. I wonder if he's going to come at me with the pipe, but he throws it to the side. He starts to lean over me, still snarling.
You little prick. This time I'll bind you up to your shoulders. How does that sound?
He grabs up one of my arms, trying to pull me up, but I go limp.
Get up, otherwise I'll make you.
He grabs my other arm. That's when I notice his wide stance over me and a particular bulge between his legs. I hardly think about it, drawing back one foot. I launch it as hard as I can into his crotch. I feel a distinctly soft form get flattened under my foot as it gets trapped between the force of my kick and the substantial weight of Amicus's body. If there was any doubt in my mind that this male alien would be affected any differently compared to a male human, his reaction quashed it. Amicus freezes wide-eyed, hunching over me even further, while his thighs snap together, trapping my foot. We both stay frozen for an awkward length of time as I stare at what I've just done. And that's when I see that device hanging on his waistband, the one he'd been using to knock me out. I struggled to pull my foot free of the surprisingly tight embrace of his thighs, while at the same time pulling my hands out of his now limp grasp. I reach for his waist, grabbing the device. Amicus, probably distracted by the unexpected nut shot, doesn't seem to notice, and I finally yank my foot free. As I stumble to my feet, the alien wolf half-heartedly grabs at me, and I struggle against his paw before reaching for his red cape and pulling it over his head. Amicus finally stumbles back, one paw flying to his crotch, the other struggling with his cape, as he stays bent over, mouth hanging open, making a weird gasping sound like he was holding his breath. I look at the device in my hand, desperately trying to understand how to use it. The glass panel takes up most of the face of the device, like a phone, but two metal prongs stick out on one end. I frantically push at the screen and it comes to life, displaying a vertical bar. About a tenth of it is filled from the bottom with a light blue color. I push it willingly with my thumb, waiting for something to happen, for electricity to start arcing between the prongs or something. Instead, the bar fills with one side of my thumb. I push it all the way up until the color turns dark violet. I hear a snarl and see Amicus finally tear the cape off before he comes at me again. One paw still over his crotch, the other reaching out for me. I don't have time to think as I just duck under his approaching paw and press the prongs hard as I can into his body. It sinks into his stomach and I can hear the wolf make a huff sound into my ear. There's a pause as nothing seems to happen. Then I press harder and squeeze the device, and the result is instant. There's no sound, but Amicus's body seizes up violently, shaking as if he's having a seizure. The muscles in his stomach tense hard and push the device back out a few inches. I hold it there, not wanting to let up in case it isn't enough. In case he'll just recover and come at me again. After a few seconds, the wolf seizing and shuddering stops on its own. I start to pull back and get a glimpse of Amicus's face. His muzzle hangs open, foam and drool hanging out from his chin, his eyes rolling back into his head. It's a scary sight, so I try to back away, and Amicus comes with me. Contact with the device having been the only thing keeping him balanced. His weight takes me down, and the next thing I know is that I'm flat on my back, struggling to breathe as Amicus's incredible weight crushes me into the metal deck. He practically envelops me with his soft, furry body, his big head resting on my chest. I stare down at him, watching his black lips and eyelids twitch as his tongue hangs out as he makes sporadic snorting sounds. I gasp and strain as I spend the next minute working myself out from under him, grimacing as his I did it again. As his foamy drool smears on my chest. Finally, I manage to break free of his dead weight and crawl a few feet away, spending a few moments catching my breath. I look back at his still twitching form, his rump stuck slightly up in the air. I wonder how long I have before he wakes up. There's a long, shiny, thin cord around my left wrist, and I start to work at the knot. It's strange material, smooth and metallic, yet it bends as easily as rope. It's a pain in the ass getting it undone, though. It's like the dumb wolf just put as many knots into it as he could. He probably had no idea what he was doing, and now it makes sense why I was able to get out of it so easily. While I'm undoing the mess, I keep looking over at him. The twitches and snorts are subsiding, which I'm not sure is a good thing or not. Come on! I grunt as I finally pull the last tangle out, straightening the metal rope thing out in both my hands. I look between it and the knocked out wolf in front of me, giving my head a little shake. What the fuck is even happening? I get to work planting my butt on Amicus's as I put both of his paws behind his back. I have some difficulty keeping my balance as I lift his heavy arms and start winding the rope around his wrists. I'm not exactly an expert at tying hands behind backs either, but I feel far more confident in my work than Amicus ever should have in his own. I guess his carelessness makes some sort of sense considering I'm a tiny human and he's a giant canine. He probably thought he'd just be able to toss me back in the closet if I got free. I look over my work, somewhat satisfied with how neat and tight the binding is. I shift and almost slide off the wolf's ass, forcing me to put my hands back and steady myself on his thighs. They're thick and heavily muscled, and that makes me realize that they might also be a problem. Yes, Will. If you're going to listen to what I say, don't just listen to the parts that seem interesting to you. Then it shouldn't be an issue. Then you should know why I'm talking about Amicus's ass. While binding his arms as a start, I have no doubt in my mind that he'd be able to take me out with a few nasty kicks. I stand up and start looking around for more of that rope, but that's when I notice something strange happening outside the windows. Thin streaks of white light stretch and bend, moving slowly from front were arcing in long lines to the sides and disappearing from sight. I stare, mesmerized, and suddenly feel sick at the sight. I avert my eyes looking at the wall while I watch the strange light show out of the corner of my eye. Are those stars? Are we in some sort of wormhole? Or what was it called? Hyperspace? I start to get the feeling that I'm very, very far from Earth now, which makes me feel even more sick. I want to keep my mind off of it, so I set about searching the deck for more material, for more of the metal rope, trying to ignore that we might be moving at the speed of light into the depths of space. I don't have much luck. Most everything in the ship is flush to its surface with very few moving parts. I end up going back to the utility closet, and that's when I see that metal polygon with a long cord sticking out of it, the one I knocked off the shelf earlier. I lean over and pull at it, deciding that it should hold, even if it's more plasticky than not metal. 5 minutes later, and I have its legs bound together. I search around for the taser for another minute before finding it pinned between Amicus' chest and the deck. I'm hot and sweaty as I finally sit back against the opposite wall, staring at the face-down wolf in his bindings. I weigh the taser in my hand, going over scenarios in my mind for what I'm going to say to him when he wakes back up. I'm not sure how long it takes. An hour, maybe? An hour, maybe two, before Amicus starts to stir. First he groans and rolls over a few times, then draws up his bound legs before trying to work his paws free. Finally, he opens his eyes, and because he's on his side, I'm the first thing he sees. He squints, frowns, then grunts again, turning over onto his stomach. What the hell? I clear my throat and swallow, trying not to show how nervous I am. Yeah, what the hell? You tased me again! What? Amicus turns his head to look at me, and then looks away, letting out another groan. Oh, my stomach. What did you do? Exactly what you did to me. I hold up my taser, turning it in the light so that the wolf can fully see it. Amicus stares at it for a moment before letting his face fall back from the deck. Oh gosh, I feel like I'm on fire. Did you use it at full power? What the hell is wrong with you? Despite my fear and anxiety over the entire situation, I'm able to feel indignant. Me? You did the same to me, then lied to me, then tased me again, then tied me up. You're crazy! I would never use full power on anyone. Amicus seems to ignore my rant as he rolls onto his back, arching over his tired paws, probably stretching out the muscles that I'd hit with the taser. I wait a while longer, listening to the grunts and groans and complaints as Amicus continues to whine. I'm not that stupid, though. I can tell he's stalling for time, trying to figure out a way to get out of this. I stand up. Take me home. Amicus opens one eye, glaring at me. What? I said, take me home. Amicus goes quiet for a moment. His eyes closed, then forces himself to sit up, visibly cringing as he's forced to use his stomach muscles. He scoots back with more complaints until he plants his back against the wall behind him. I see his shoulders shift, his biceps bulging, and I can tell he's working and testing the restraints. I raise the taser. Stop moving or I'm gonna hit you again. Fuck off. I move towards him, brandishing the taser like a sword. Hey! Amicus kicks his feet up, trying to block my attack. Now I see real fear in his eyes. Then stop moving and tell me me how we get back. I don't really want to shock him again. It did look really painful. On top of that, I don't want to knock him out for hours while our little ship is hurtling through space. Amicus glares at me for a moment, his feet still in the air before he slowly lowers them. I'll show you if you let me go. I actually laugh, and the sound seems to startle the wolf. Are you kidding me? Why should I trust you at all after what you've done to me? Amicus's ears flatten. Tell me where the hell you're taking me and why. Otherwise, I will zap you again. He seems at a loss for words.
I can't tell you.
I glare, and for a moment I consider just jabbing him again right then and there. Why not? The wolf remains silent as he looks away from me. I feel myself getting more angry. I'm tired of this alien holding me hostage. Well, I guess I'll just have to figure it out on my own then. I turn away and start moving toward the front deck. Amicus shifts around behind me.
What? You don't know the first thing about this ship, don't...
Big Wolf grunts and tries to get his feet under him.
Don't touch anything!
I ignore him and move to the panels, looking them over. The big one in the middle looks promising, and I start poking at it. I know I won't be able to figure out how to turn the ship around, but the wolf's worry over me touching the panels gives me an idea. I could probably mess things up to the point where he'll have to tell me what he's doing, or even how I might be able to get back. There aren't many other options aside from torturing him, something I don't really want to do. The lines and shapes move with my fingers, and Roman numerals pop up randomly here and there.
Hey, what are you doing?
Amicus huffs and puffs behind me, just as the circle appears and compresses around my finger like it's zeroed in on something. I look back to see Amicus hobbling up from his tied together feet, looking just about ready to topple over.
You have no idea what...
I feel a soft vibration under my finger, not unlike my phone's haptic feedback. Overriding sleep mode. Locked on Stella 556425.
No! Calm! Stop that last directive!
Voice commands for piloting are reserved for the Emperor Amicus.
Human, stop!
Amicus starts hopping towards me with his bound feet, and I scramble to the side as he doesn't run into me.
No, 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 no!
The wolf stares down at the panel and I look out the window as the stars seem to curve all the way to my right, making me feel sick again. And the next thing I know... Oh, fuck. The cabin is lit up by an ominous red glow. The windows suddenly tint, blocking the worst of the light. That's when I'm able to see a massive ball of fire in front of the ship. The size of it is incredible. Orbital trajectory will intersect with the photosphere. Ensure safety straps are in place, making corrective measures. I only have a moment to wonder what the hell Com is talking about before Amicus and I are thrown sideways into the left window of the ship. The impact is mostly cushioned by Amicus' body, and I hear him yell and curse underneath.
Move! Get to the seat!
I struggle to reach out to the seat in front of me, but I can barely lift my hand. The gravity of the star is so powerful, it feels like I'm going to be stuck. It's going to suck up my soul. Then I'm finally boosted up by something behind me, and I look back, the moment making me feel like my neck is going to break. I see Amicus with his back lined against the window, his feet pushing me up to the seat. I managed to grab the armrest and pull myself into it. Now, the left armrest is digging painfully into my back, making me feel as if a professional wrestler is slamming me into a backbreaker.
Just do it. Point us away from that star.
I do as I'm told, sliding a thumb gingerly over the green panel. Slowly the ship turns, pointing away from the star, shifting the apparent force of gravity until the wheel goes back into the seats.
Now see that lever in between us?
Yeah?
Pull it down.
Now reaching my hand out is almost impossible as I get pulled back towards the star from behind us. Gritting my teeth, I lean forward as hard as I can, practically throwing myself forward and grabbing onto the lever. Then gravity does the rest of the work and the lever comes down hard. I lose my grip and get thrown back into my seat. The gravity increases twofold, and for a moment it feels like my entire body is being crushed into a pancake. And then the burning orange light is gone and the deck goes black. Running diagnostics. Amicus?
Yes, Calm.
Damage to the ship is severe. Recovery mode is required.
Enter recovery mode.
Stand by. We sit in silence for a long time. I lean against the seat with both feet drawn up to my chest, feeling numb and shaky. I also feel stupid, embarrassed, and kinda guilty. On one hand, I nearly just got both of us killed. But on the other hand, this crazy alien almost killed me by bringing here in the first place. At least it feels that way. I still don't know what his ultimate plan is with me. I wonder for the 100th time if he's going to wake up. I plug my nose. Wait. I wonder for the 100th time if I'm going to wake up. Okay, I fucked that up. I plug my nose and try to breathe through my nostrils. Hello? No air comes through. I sigh and look out the window at the blue glow that we found ourselves in. The star we just escaped is far away now, though it's still an almost blinding tiny orb far to my left. Kind of like the sun was not too long ago. It's lighting up all the dust that surrounds us with an eerie blue glow. It's kind of calming. I look over at Amicus and see him slumped in his chair looking out the window. His shoulders are hunched, ears drooping, and his head down. He's on the edge of his seat because his arms are still behind his back, forcing him to lean forward a bit. Calm hasn't spoken since we went into recovery mode, and the ship still hasn't moved at all. The usual hum isn't even there. It's like everything is turned off. I finally decide to break the silence. Amicus? I see his ears flick, but he keeps his head down, not even looking at me. I swallow, then try again. Amicus. I see his shoulders rise and fall in a deep sigh, but he keeps silent. I'm about to just give up and slump back into my seat, and then he finally responds. What? What's happening? The wolf turns to glare at me.
What do you mean, what's happening? You broke the ship!
He turns away and continues to sulk. I feel a little anger at that and realize this alien isn't alien at all. He's just acting like an upset human. He's just acting like an upset human kid that didn't get his way. Makes me a little less afraid of him. Excuse me? Do I have to go through the list of shit that you did to me? Amicus turns to me again, and I can almost see his mind working to think of some sort of comeback.
Well, I think you topped it by nearly throwing us into a star, human.
You shouldn't have kidnapped me in the first place, wolf.
I should be calling you child, since that's what you are.
Well, this child outsmarted you, zapped you, and tied you up. I see him bristle, his hackles raising on his shoulders like a dog.
You could have killed me. That setting is meant for creatures 3 times my size.
How was I supposed to know? I don't know anything about what's going on.
I told you what's going on.
You really think I'm stupid, don't you? Amicus pouts and turns away again. I think you thought I was some stupid alien you could just take advantage of. I can tell you've been lying to me this whole time. Amicus flattens his ears even more, shoulders bunching up. Is that what you and your people do? Kidnapping and lying to everyone you meet? Now his hackles really raise up and turns on me fast. I try not to lean back. Despite the similarities, he's still a wolf, and those teeth are terrifying. I do not lie. The wolf's righteous indignation seems to deflate. The situation is too complicated for you to understand. I glare at him. Who's tied up again? Amicus doesn't take the bait this time and remains slumped.
I guess it doesn't matter now. We're probably going to die out here with how badly the ship is burned.
That makes my stomach twist a bit. I want to ask him if he's just moping or if he actually thinks we're going to die. But another long moment of silence stretches between us. I look out the window again at the towering clouds of dust in front of us. Well, if that's the case, then can you just tell me what's going on? Amicus goes on staring out his window. I sigh and lean back, resigned to the idea that I might not ever know why I was dragged out to space to simply just get stuck and die in a dust cloud. Then Amicus speaks.
I made some mistakes.
I glance at him, waiting, not wanting to say anything in case he stops talking.
I didn't know your species wasn't a part of the Cassious. It's very illegal to make first contact without authorization from a parent.
A parent?
The authorities of the galaxy.
I frown, and Amicus looks at the confusion on my face.
How can I put this simply? There are 3 levels in the Galaxias. At the very top are the parents. They arrive from beyond our galaxy to spread their culture here.
Amicus glances at me.
You know what a galaxy is. That there are other worlds, that there are others outside of your own world. Out of your own?
Yeah. Amicus lets out a breathy chuckle.
Of course. I probably should have expected that. So you must know, then, that intergalactic travel is incredibly advanced, almost godlike, and that's what they are. Gods. There are 8 of them, and still present in our galaxy, though they rarely communicate with us these days. Then there are the siblings. That's what my species is a part of. The galaxy was scoped out by the parents at the very start to find the most intelligent and capable species. They each selected one, and we were one of the one. We were the ones chosen and uplifted by the Romanus.
The note of pride in Amicus' voice is obvious.
From then on, it has been our mission to increase the intelligence and promising species and teach them our philosophy and culture to uplift.
I try to make sense of that in terms that I can understand. So, you spread their culture for the parents. For the parents? They're like your god, and your species are like missionaries. Amicus shrugs.
Yeah, sort of like that.
That doesn't sound so great, especially when I compare it to things that have happened on Earth. Mass galactic assimilation. So, why are they doing this? If they got here at the same time and did the same thing, does that mean they're working together? Amicus shakes his head.
We don't really know the reasons for what the parents do, but we compete with the other siblings. But that brings me to the rest of the sapiens of the galaxy. Children. The siblings uplift these children and bring them into our fold under the direction of our parents. Again, they haven't told us exactly what's going on, but we came child says at some point.
In Rome?
Presumably, but sometimes the species is unable to be uplifted for different reasons. Too aggressive, too docile, too unintelligent.
Wait. Wouldn't being docile be a good thing? Okay. Amicus glances at me.
I thought this is what happened to your species.
Then, if we've been uplifted, does that mean you've already made first contact?
Yes, but you're not part of the Cassious. That's why I made the mistake. You should know about it, but you don't. Knowledge of other intelligent life is sacred, and for whatever reason, your species lost it. So it doesn't matter that we've made contact before. If the knowledge of the Cassious has been lost, then any form of communication between us is first contact all over again. And while Uplift has been cancelled with species in the past, we don't completely cut off contact. They are permanently part of the Cassious. I've never heard of something like this happening before, so I panicked. Calm.
Amicus glances at the ceiling.
Wasn't able to tell me that until he connected to your Nexus.
Nexus? Another word that doesn't translate.
Like the technology that connects places, people, information.
The internet?
If that's your word for it.
So, I try to understand everything I'm being told. Why didn't you just tell me all this before you kidnapped me, or knocked me out? Amicus' ears flatten and he looks away, clearly ashamed.
I don't know. I didn't fully understand the intelligence of your species yet. I thought I could just lead you to believe things.
I'll say anything, and Amicus shifts uncomfortably.
Leaving you on Earth after you saw me, you might have called the authorities on your planet. With that knowledge, which might have led to a monitor being alerted.
Amicus answers my question before I can ask.
Monitors are basically the ears and eyes of the parents. They monitor the galaxy.
And what happens if they're alerted? Amicus sighs deeply.
I don't know. It hasn't happened in a long time, and I don't think anyone has ever broken this particular law. It's one of the most important laws we're supposed to follow. Knowing I'd broken it.
Amicus pauses. Scared you? Amicus shakes his head, but doesn't really say anything. I try to piece all this together in my head. So then you panicked and kidnapped me?
It was either that or kill you, or leave you and hope for the best, but that was a risk that I felt I couldn't take at the time.
Amicus seems to shrink in his seat.
And I guess I didn't want to tell you because I knew I'd disrupted your life in a terrible way. I thought I might be able to make you forget and want to stay with me if you saw my home.
But why? Why did you do it in the first place? What did you want from me?
Oh shit, make it your battery slow.
Hang on. But why? Why did you do it in the first place? What did you want from me? Amicus looks at me for a long while, presumably debating on how much he... Get out of here. Looks at me for a long while, probably debating on how much to tell me. Then he turns away.
I needed a pet.
Excuse me? Amicus shrinks up even more in his chair.
It's a very long story.
I glare at the back of his head. Well, if we're gonna be here for a while, then I have time. Amicus goes on staring out the window.
My father was the emperor. The throne was mine to take. But my brother has challenged me, so now we're both competing for it.
Amicus looks at me out of the corner of his eye for my reaction. His expression tells me I should be impressed, but learning he might be an influential figure among his people doesn't really seem too crazy after the events of the past day or so. And getting a pet will I frown. Oh? And that's unusual?
Definitely. It shouldn't even be illegal, but somehow he negotiated it, then signed a contract and everything.
I shake my head. So, what does having a pet do? Amicus shrugs.
It's a good symbol to have. The fact that my brother was able to obtain such a prestigious pet shows his skill in negotiation and has me at a huge disadvantage. I need to do something even more grand to impress my father's advisor. He's the one that will choose between us.
By kidnapping me. Amicus growls.
That wasn't a part of the plan.
I keep doing that. I need to stop. I'm getting too trigger happy with the fucking spacebar.
I thought you'd know what I was and be amazed that a wolf had come back to your species. I was going to make a deal with you like my brother did with his pet. I wanted a sapient one. A sapient that no one had seen in a long time.
So that's why I'm here. To be used as some pawn in some power struggle in some alien empire far away. So, why can't you take me back? What if I promise not to say anything?
I would take you back if I could. I realize now that would have been the better option, but I can't.
Why not?
First of all, the ship might be damaged beyond repair. Secondly, there isn't enough power to get back. Earth was on the outer reaches of how far I could travel. I need the rest to return home.
I managed to stop myself from telling the wolf that... What? Poke. I managed to stop myself from telling the wolf that all of this is his fault and shouldn't be my problem at all. Well, can we get more power when we get to your home, then go back to Earth?
No, it's a type of power that the parents produce. We're not able to harness it yet.
So get more from them? From wherever you get the power in the first place. Amicus leans his head against the headrest.
Our parents authorizes and distributes it, and for whatever reason, they stopped supplying it when we lost our emperor.
I feel myself growing more and more frustrated. Then how the hell are you using it now? A moment of silence goes by.
This was my father's ship. Only the emperor has constant access to the technology. I borrowed it to get to you.
I glare at him. You mean stole it? You know, you're pretty dishonest for someone who says they never lie. Another soft rumbling growl from him.
Times are desperate.
Ask your dad to take me back then.
If you didn't gather from earlier, he's dead, so no one has access to it right now. I'm just using up what's left.
I stare at Amicus for a while, words failing me.
Listen, I didn't want to do all those things I did to you. I'm protecting both of us.
I laugh. Oh, really?
Yes, I was planning to bring you to the palace to live a good life and forget your old one. Then, when you started asking those questions, I realized your intelligence is much higher than I thought it would be. Then, Calm thought you might attack me. I made a mistake. I made mistakes.
Amicus lets out another huge sigh and slumps in the seat, looking away. Several minutes go by in silence, both of us staring out the window into the eerie blue. So, what now? What are your plans? Amicus is the one to laugh this time.
Get out of these bonds, if you'd let me.
I look at him incredulously. Amicus sighs.
Listen, you have no idea how to handle this ship. I can at least run diagnostics to see what we can do about this.
What's to stop you from knocking me out again?
If you don't attack me or hit me with the Nervo again, then I won't have to.
I looked to my armrest and picked up the little taser device. This? Amicus's eyes it uneasily.
Yeah.
How can I trust you after everything that's happened?
I give you my word.
I frown. And you can go back on it just as easily.
I would never do that. I don't make promises lightly, Jason.
Amicus is so indignant that I actually believe him. Or he's just a really good actor. Either way, I'm gonna have to let him go at some point. Especially if we really can't get back to Earth. So, I make my decision. If I let you go, you have to find a way to get me back to Earth. Amicus thinks for a moment.
I can do that if I become Emperor.
And how long will that take? Amicus shrugs.
A few months if it all goes well. With your help, it could be even faster. You're very clever. More intelligent than some wolves I know. Even.
Months? My parents are probably freaking out by now. School starts in a few weeks. All of those things seem so distant now. Amicus frowns.
I'm sorry, but I can't do anything. I need to be Emperor to even talk to the parents.
I think, but again, I don't have many options. I look Amicus in the eye. You promise?
You have my word.
For a moment, I sit there contemplating. Then I sit up straight. All right, stand up. Amicus perks up and hops to his bound feet, almost falling over. I'm sure to place the Nervo close behind me, just in case. A few minutes later, the wolf is free. We both regard each other wearily for a few moments before Amicus finally sighs.
Listen, I have no reason to incapacitate you now that you know everything. But if it makes you feel better, you can hang on to the Nervo until we get to Adastra. That a fair exchange?
I look back at the little device. While I have little reason to trust Amicus, the wolf has virtually no reason to trust me. I consider, then shake my head. Can we put it away somewhere? I'd rather just not be thinking about it. Amicus looks at me in surprise, then rubs his stomach where I jabbed him.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a deal to me.
Amicus holds out a paw, and I look down at the thick black pads on his fingers and palm before picking up the Nervo and handing it to him carefully. For a moment, I imagine him immediately turning the thing around and jabbing it into my face, but instead, he turns and walks towards the back of the ship. I notice his stance is slightly bow-legged, and he adjusts himself a few times. That makes me feel guilty about fighting dirty earlier. But only a little. On his way, he sweeps up his cape in one fluid motion before wrapping it around his shoulders. Then he moves to the back wall, sticking out a paw. He presses a panel around a small portion of the wall. And a small portion of the wall slides back, revealing another smaller room. From where I am, I can see what looks like a little cot in various cupboards. He opens one of the cupboards and places the Nervo inside before shutting it. He comes back out and notices me staring.
That's my quarters. It's where I sleep. If you need to urinate or whatever else you do, the toilet's in there.
I'm fine for now. I feel my stomach gurgle, something it's been doing for a while now. I am a little hungry, though. Amicus raises a brow.
You want to try it again?
Sure. It's not the worst food I've ever had. The earthy smell translates to the taste, but there's a strange hint of sweetness to it, like chocolate. That makes it a little more palatable. You can at least swallow it down without gagging, so that's good, I guess. Amicus has his own cup, though he's paying more attention to the panels than to his food.
I may have been exaggerating a bit earlier. damage appears to be minimal. We're actually lucky that you didn't lock onto something more worse like a pit. There was one nearby that saw.
A pit? Amicus shrugs, waving his hand in the air as if brushing a question aside.
Very strange gravitational singularity that sucks everything up around it.
Like a black hole.
Black hole?
Like its gravity is so powerful that even light gets pulled into it, and that's why they're black. Amicus looks at me in surprise.
Oh, you know what that is? You know what that is? Guess I should stop being surprised, honestly. You humans really are something. You basically uplifted yourselves.
I shrug. We touched on it in my Astronomy 101 class. I don't know much about them.
But the fact that your species found out about them in the first place. Anyway,
Amicus presses the button before suddenly the home of the ship comes back to life. System's back online.
And
Amicus pulls the lever and suddenly light appears and windows are filled with warping stars again. I immediately look away, feeling the chocolate mud start to work its way up my throat.
We were actually almost to Adastra when you took control.
Excuse me. Amicus rubs the side of his neck as he stretches it out.
I should be there fairly soon.
What is this? I wave my hand at the window, not looking.
The bending light? It's the stretch drive. Basically, space is being shortened ahead of us.
Amicus puts his paws close together in front of himself.
And stretched out behind us.
Amicus stretches his paws wide.
I don't really know how it works. Only the parents can build this kind of tech. And it's our only way I could get to Earth or anywhere outside our star system, really. They even figured out a way to make time stand still around us when we travel. Otherwise, way too much time would have passed back home.
I'm starting to get a picture of how powerful these parents actually are, being capable of warping space and time to their will. So, how much more time arriving at Stella Vita, and just like that, stars become still again. Amicus grins.
Welcome to Adastra, Jason.
I look out the window and see a large green and blue sphere shimmer below me. Beyond it, there's another globe. This one's chalky and gray. A smaller and even brighter orb floats further to the right, its color almost pure white. Amicus points to the more Earth-like sphere.
That specifically is Adastra. The planet to the left is Chorus. There aren't many people there aside from miners, the smallest of Torque, another moon. The smallest is Torque, another moon. I know you live on a planet, so Adastra might seem a bit small to you.
I press a hand to the window and notice that it's ice cold. Looks pretty big from here. Amicus leans over the console and starts touching at the screens. Re-entry sequence engaged.
Go ahead and put your safety straps on. Re-entry is never comfortable in smaller ships.
I hurriedly do as he says, sitting down trying to figuring out the seatbelt. Eventually, Amicus has to come over and help, showing me how the strap feeds into the slot. This automatically pulls the straps tightly across my waist and chest. As Amicus gets in his own seat, we start to curve around to the darker side of Adastra. Every now and then, there's a little bit of a downward tug on my stomach, sort of like when the passenger jet I was in was landing in Rome. I'd imagine that things would rattle around along with a bunch of fire and heat like in a Hollywood movie. Instead, there's only rumbling sounds that accompanies gentle vibration through the seat. There isn't any fire, but I do start to see blue flashes on the otherwise black windows. I look over at Amicus and see that he's got his eyes closed, looking relaxed. Wolf's eyes open and he smiles gently at me.
Don't worry, this is all normal.
I realize how nervous I must look, so I nod and lean my head back into the seat. The electric blue flashes stop after a while, and then I feel one final downward pull in my body before the rumbling fades out. We sit in complete silence and darkness for a moment before I hear Amicus moving next to me.
Okay, we're in the hangar now. Just follow me into the palace.
Amicus gets up, but the ship stays dark. So does the hangar. Okay, why aren't there any lights?
Everyone's probably asleep. I don't want to wake them.
I get the feeling that he just doesn't want anyone to catch us, but I don't say anything. I fiddle with my seatbelt, unable to get it undone, until I feel Amicus lean over me, breathing in my ear as his large paw covers mine, pressing something that releases the strap. I stand up, feeling around blindly as I hold onto the seat, only barely able to make out the red bristles of the headdress in front of me. I reach out a hand. Hey. Amicus's rough paw pads envelop my hand.
What's wrong?
I can't see anything.
Oh, can you not see in low light?
Amicus starts pulling me along before I hear a soft beep, then a whooshing sound. Not really. Another sound catches my attention. Crickets. They have crickets here too? At the same time, I'm hit by a wall of humid warmth, almost like walking into a sauna. Amicus puts a paw against my chest. Wait a second. I hear a thud followed by a grunt. Hello?
Lean down.
My eyes have adjusted a bit more to the dark. I'm barely able to make out what I think are paws reaching up towards me. I crouch down and Amicus grabs me under the arms before pulling me clumsily off the deck of the ship. My face mashes up against his furry chest before I'm set down on my feet.
Alright, so we're just going to go straight to my room. Try not to make too much noise.
I start to nod, but Amicus is already pulling me along. The humidity presses down on me like a physical force, and I start to worry that I might actually have trouble surviving on this moon. It's really hot.
Things will cool off once we're inside.
I can hear him panting heavily as we move through the hangar. I still can't see much, just angular shapes in the darkness. But finally, I see some light ahead with some cold air. We turn a corner, and I have to blink against how bright it suddenly becomes. I look around at the pillars and marble floor, the bright lights above me, and what looks like a garden complete with statues extending out through the archway. At least I know Amicus wasn't lying about living in a palace.
What do you think?
Wow, I mean, it looks really cool. Really expensive. I don't know if that last part was such a great compliment, but Amicus seems happy.
Thanks. It's going to be your home for a while, so I'm glad you like it.
Amicus adjusts his cape, fanning it out a little.
This is only a small portion of the palace, of course. I'll show you around later, but for now, I want you to go to my room and dry out a little. I must look like a mess now. The humidity doesn't do my fur any favors.
I can tell Amicus is genuinely embarrassed, even if he's trying to joke, so I put a hand up to my hair. I have a little less to worry about, but I'm sure my hair is pretty crazy right now.
True, that patch of fur really is something, though.
The wolf reaches out and touches my hair, rubbing it between the pads of his fingers. We've made physical contact several times over the last day, but this is the first time that it really feels friendly. We stand there for a moment, just long enough for things to get awkward. Amicus pulls his head back suddenly, as if realizing what he's doing. He's saved from having to think of something to say, as we both hear footsteps coming up the hall to our right.
Shit!
What?
Hide and be quiet.
Amicus whispers loudly at me and suddenly pushes me hard back the way we came. I stumble before scrambling around the corner. Footsteps get louder as I stand up and press my back against the wall, listening. Amicus! Oh my god, my Cassius. I am going to have to find a different voice for Cassius. Cassius deserves, like, some snobby rich kid voice. Amicus? No, that doesn't sound right either. Amicus! Alright, let's do that one.
Cassius?
Amicus's deeper voice responds, sounding cool and collected. Where the hell have you been? His voice is higher pitched and a little more articulate than Amicus's. I start to look around the corner, then hesitate. Then I do it anyway, wanting to see who this person is. Luckily, Amicus moved further down the room, so that I'm slightly behind this Cassius guy. I see a white wolf, quite a bit smaller compared to Amicus, but no less intimidating, maybe even more so. I can tell by his demeanor that he's probably not a fun person to be around.
I was out hunting. Is something wrong?
Hunting? For 2 days? Is that a joke?
Was it that long?
Yes! You were supposed to make a speech in Lux yesterday. How many times did we remind you of it? Cassius suddenly takes a deep breath. Really, Amicus, you seem to expect everyone to cover up for your mistakes. I can't comprehend how you could have forgotten.
I lost track of time.
That's not an excuse. How do you expect to become an emperor if you act this way? Amicus growls. Don't even pretend, Cass. You're probably happy I missed it. That's ridiculous, Amicus. I only want the best for this empire. Amicus opens his mouth and shuts it suddenly.
No, I'm not doing this tonight. I'm tired and I want to go to bed.
Cassius quietly regards Amicus for a moment, then shakes his head. Well, Virginia went in your stead, so you have her to thank when she returns.
She's better at that sort of thing anyway.
The point was to show Lux that the next possible emperor stands in solidarity with them. Sending your sister is not a good look.
Well, walking around in undergarments doesn't look good either. Think that's how an emperor should behave?
No one is awake, Amicus. Don't be such a pup.
I'm just saying, you look really small without your armor. Now that is not a good look for an emperor.
Excuse me?
What? I only want what's best for the empire. A little runt like you definitely isn't.
They stare at each other for a long time. Though I have no idea what's going on, I can almost see the electricity arcing between them. Finally, Cassius turns on his heels and walks away, tail swishing furiously. Good night, Amicus. Amicus stands there for a moment, puffed out a little before he finally deflates.
Damn it!
Excuse me. I stand quietly around the corner, waiting for Amicus to call me back. When he doesn't, I whisper at him, Amicus! His ears prick up and he turns to me.
Hey, come on. We should go before anyone else decides to show up.
Okay. I can tell by the way the wolf walks, his ears slightly down, his tail almost dragging, that he's not in a good mood. You alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. My brother just knows how to irritate me, and I shouldn't have said that to him.
We quietly walk through the marble halls, the echoing of our footsteps, the only sound. Is he not supposed to see me?
I just need to think of the right way to introduce you. Now isn't the best time.
Is
sigh. Yes, and he's really starting to turn my life upside down because of it. Sometimes I think he sees. Sometimes I think he just sees all of this as a game. We come to a stop and what looks like a door. It's completely smooth, though made of what also looks like marble. Amicus doesn't make any move to open it. And he never seemed concerned for me and my duties until after he made his challenge. That's what bothers me the most, knowing that it's all an act. I guess you're not really close with him then. Not since we were pups, no. A disturbing thought suddenly hits me. Well, in Earth's ancient Rome, the place where you guys uplifted, people would kill each other over the throne, like, a lot. Does that happen here? Amicus frowns. I suppose it's happened in the past, but that was a long time ago. Besides, Cassious would never do something like that. Amicus sticks out his paw and presses it into a black square on the wall. The door slides open without a sound. I feel a rush of cool air come out of the room, and Amicus lets out a happy sigh and steps inside. That's much better. My dad's advisor keeps the climate way too hot in the rest of the palace. I follow the wolf inside and look around. Aside from a few quirks, the room looks like it could have come straight out of any luxury hotel on Earth. Amicus sits heavily on the bed, making it squeak. He starts to strip off his clothing. Toilet and bath are in there. He nods ahead at another door across from the bed. That jams the thumb back at the large curtain. That's the balcony. If you want to get some air through, though I don't know why you would in this weather. Then he points at the couch. And that can be where you sleep, if that's alright with you. I've known other aliens who prefer the floor, though. The couch is fine. I walk over to the red sofa, sizing it up. It's more than big enough, but as I pick up the little black pillow, I notice it's covered in fur. I inconspicuously pick some of it off before a light blanket smacks into the back of my head. There you go. Is that all okay? Yeah, this is good. I hope the blanket will be enough to keep off the cold that seems to be wafting down from the ceiling. Good. Like I said earlier, I'll show you the rest of the palace tomorrow. We'll get some real food, too. Maybe sprawls back on the bed, not bothering to draw up any blankets. He closes his eyes. I actually want real food now. But I don't say anything. Instead, lay down the sofa a bit harder than I expected. And support, I guess. As I'm settling in, I think Amicus has already fallen asleep, but that's when he speaks again. And thanks, Jason. I don't know what he's thanking me for not killing him on his ship, for agreeing to help him become emperor, for the way I took this shitty sofa for a flimsy blanket without complaint. I'm not sure, so all I say is, sure. I hear the wolf snoring softly, and the lights suddenly dim down until they're off. I lay there for a while, though not sure for how long. In fact, it seems to have lost all meaning since I was abducted. Amicus's brother said that it had been 2 days, but didn't Amicus say that time freezes when traveling in the stretch drive? Had we really spent that much time idling around? I need to stop thinking about everything. That doesn't make sense, because that's basically everything. I just need to help this wolf so I can get the hell back home.
Then I can pick apart everything I've been through all I want. For now, I just need to help things move along as smoothly as possible. And with that thought in my head, and with the soft sounds of Amicus's gentle snoring, I'm lulled into a light and troubled sleep. The dream I have is strange. I'm in the black void of some kind, and despite the emptiness, I have some sort of purpose. I don't know what it is, but I'm being driven towards it. It's not a good dream. It's borderline nightmare. The empty void isn't the scary part, though. It's the feeling that I'm being watched by someone or something. It's the feeling that I have no say in where I'm going. No choice at all. I'm very curious about you. What? I am limited in what I can ask, but I'll start with this. What is death to you? Okay. So, once the next day starts, I'm going to save and then end. I know I've been doing this for a little while. I'm gonna go for infinity. Very interesting. Sometime just before I fully wake up, I hear something moving around behind me, followed by a mumbled voice and then soft padding around that fades after a few moments. I wonder if one of my flatmates just arrived and looked into my room for some reason. As I shift around, I frown at the how weirdly firm the bed I'm lying in is. My bed was softer than this when I got into it. And where are my sheets? Okay. Time to save. Empty slot 1. Anyways, that's episode 1 of Adastra. I hope you all enjoyed that. I know I did. Damn. Trying to figure out Cassius's voice was, I think the hardest part of this episode. Other than constantly accidentally pressing the space button. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification